Well, would you look at that? Episode number 4, All Stars, season 3. Ronnie and Richard are here together once again. If you ask the question, there's so many challenge All Star shows, and those are usually with a variety of people that cover it. What's different about ours is me and my brother Richard. We are from two different two different walks of life in terms of like interests or whatever. We don't have a lot of common bonds. We don't have a lot of common interests. We do get along well, but there's something about the challenge that brings us together. Richard, are you hyped for episode number 4? Are you getting ready for your confessional player of the week? That's something we've been doing every week. Somebody who rocks the confessional. And how are you feeling about this season?
Episode 4. I mean, we're rolling through. We're almost halfway there, but yeah, we're off to a good start. Last week we lost some players. Left off with the cliffhanger of who's coming in to take a
I was
spot.
shocked. I was so shocked on who they chose. And I really was a little bit, one thing when I used to watch these shows before, I just watched them. You're such a sports fan, I'm not. But you're a sports fan, so you are always looking at strategy, you're always looking at gameplay, you're always looking at how to get the upper hand. I got to say, it must have been so devastating for some of the players to know that 2 women went out last week. I don't know how much that arcs everything, but it can't feel good because you're trying to set up every little alliance or faux alliance or sub alliance. Do you think it was a little soul crushing that they lost 2 players on the same day last episode?
Um, well, if you've seen enough of these episodes of these type of shows and everything, you have to expect stuff like that to happen. Obviously, it doesn't. It may hurt someone's game. It may help someone's game, but you gotta expect people are going to leave. People are going to get injured, or like we saw last week, it was even a family incident. So you got to be ready for everything, ready to adapt. And that's why you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. Well, so basically you're saying like Julie always says on Big Brother, expect the unexpected, because I would be bummed. I would be bummed if this is my squad. These are the people that I could count on, and then they're dropping one by one for whatever reason. But that is also what makes it a really good game. And like you mentioned last week, it adds to the fact that that possibly no women were going home last week just because of the way the numbers play out and the way the scheduling has to go. But it does open up an idea of who's coming back and who's the new fill-in competitor. We'll get to that in a minute because I want to know your thoughts on her because she is just always funny. But before we do that, episode 4, I thought it started off really good. We've got a day off, as Derek is telling the camera. They're barbecuing, beer ponging. Did I say that right? Beer pong? Yeah, beer ponging. And that's fun. And I think was it you and I, Richard? Maybe we heard it on another podcast. We felt like we were missing the fun, and maybe because it was COVID requirements and filming in COVID's not easy, but we were missing the fun like of the show. And I thought that was really excited me. How did you take the beginning of this episode just to see them play a little bit more, have a little more fun? We missed that on these shows.
Yeah, first of all, just being in a warm environment brings the pool along. And then, yeah, just the fun of let's drink barbecue because play beer pong or beer ponging, as you would say.
What did I say it? Beer
Beer,
ponging?
beer ponging.
It sounds so weird.
Yeah.
I can't say it 3 times.
Um,
Beer ponging.
but yeah, it brings the fun into it and lets the players kind of relax and kind of get outside the game for a quick second before going back into it because you have nothing else to do but think of scenarios nonstop.
And another reason it's good too is because on the franchise, I guess the original MTV version, which is now going up on episode 38, I'm sorry, season 38, it's so, taking it to extremes and the highest level. And that's all great for the competitive side, but we forget that people who fell in love with the real world and road rules and the challenge together, they loved some of the fun. Now, something that makes it challenging with All Stars is they're not as young and single, so there's not as much like you know you want to solidify an alliance, hookups and stuff like that. So because we can't get that, we could at least get them having a good time. And there's nothing to me greater than seeing a bunch of 35, 40, 45 year olds that are in fantastic shape, that got great charisma, and that are having fun together. But we're starting to see a foreshadowing though of Brad being very unhappy with MJ. I took Brad's words with a grain of salt. I mean, it's just like, what was he really mad about? You know what I mean?
Well, I take MJ's words with a grain of salt because what was he really mad about? I mean, half the guys coming in to that vote wanted someone else, but it seemed like MJ had the alliance with the females to kind of take over that vote, as they showed the little clip. Like, well, it doesn't really matter what you talking to Brad, what Brad votes or Jordan votes or whoever. I already have the votes in the bag on my side for MJ.
So isn't that just MJ using the leverage that he earned?
I mean that's just part of the game. So if you're going to let the girls help pick the guys, elimination people, and vice versa, yeah, that's the way the game's played. So you got to adjust. You got to adjust. So how's Brad adjusting? He's saying, well, maybe I got to sabotage MJ a lot more. Get rid of some of his numbers.
Oh, so you're saying he was just looking at it, conceptualizing the issue at hand, but he wasn't necessarily being a hater to MJ.
No,
Really.
he didn't want Cyrus. He didn't. Him and Jordan didn't think it was fair that Cyrus would go in twice in a row, and MJ saw, well, it was his best. So I think they both just played their best hand for each. MJ's best hand for himself, and Brad for himself.
Well, whatever it is, it's exciting me.
But it looks like it's going to become a little rivalry.
I'm down with it because I'm not an alliance as a fan to either of them 100,000%. I think MJ's cool and fun to watch. I think Brad's cool and fun to watch too. They both have their high points that I enjoy of them. They have some, and they both have their low points. They're run of the mill, really great competitors, I guess. I don't know if you could be run of the mill and great, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not invested. So to see it build up is going to be kind of nice, and it is the truth. Brad could be mad, but no, just like when Kayla came in and dominated that first authority and I got frustrated, you said there was no rules that she couldn't. Same thing here. Just because it's kind of maybe not unethical, but a little shady to do it where the women kind of dominate the whole house. There's no, if they have the numbers and they can do it, they can do it.
And I'm a little less like, yeah, about if the girls run it and pick who goes in, that's one thing. But I do wish they would have something as if you went into elimination, you couldn't get voted back in, or you can only get voted in a couple times. Because we've had years where they just vote the same person
Kendall, season
over and
one,
over
she went in a bunch.
yeah.
Richard, however, what if it's in your best interest though? Because those stars, we don't know what they add up to. What if that gives you in a 3-day TJ final, you get to sleep and the rest of them have to stand overnight? I mean, it really is hard to tell. Sometimes I feel like the challenge gods move the barometer or the the boundaries as we go.
Sometimes they do. I mean, I think they're going to be a little something. I'm not sure how much. Sometimes they're like, oh, first place gets 30 seconds. And you're like, 30 seconds in a 4-hour event? That's not too much. So I don't know. I don't like them picking on one person to go in every time. So I wish they had something of, oh, you gotta, you get like almost like a bye for the next week if you win.
I think so. I could go with that. While I think the stars may be important, or maybe they're not, as you're stating, but at the same time, like what fun is it if it's very like Mean Girls ish, and it's very uneven. I've watched episodes with you of Big Brother where my favorite cast members were always on the low side of the numbers. And no matter how hard they work, they can't get out of it because if the numbers are so high, you just cannot get out of it. You just never will. And you don't want to watch that. Anyways, moving forward, I was telling you last week that I was a little like, wow, I love season 1 music, the soundtrack, the score. Season 2, I liked it, but we weren't really getting anything season 3. And now it's as if they were listening to me over there in the music department at Paramount Plus, because we got J-Lo on Real in the episode, which anyone who knows me knows I'm a big J-Lo fan. So that was fun. Darrell talks about strategy, much like I just mentioned a second ago, how like, well, if this happens and I have to go in, well, at least, I'm getting, a star. So, again, everyone's sort of talking about what is the best bet for you all around. Um, and then we also had Nia and Jordan playing as if they're a couple. We don't know if they're really a couple. And I
I'd
have
call
no
it maybe a flirt match.
yeah, and maybe some light hooking up. And if they're not, that's also cool too. I don't really go backwards as far as for one, I don't watch every single challenge, episode or Reddit or all of the things, but I can say that, we want to in life sometimes we do want to see people go through their tougher times and get out on the other side. And when you could do that with another house guest or whatever you want to call it, another competitor, and there is a little bit of a romance, I think that's something worth watching. Do I
Well,
think they're
yeah,
a couple?
they
Yeah,
go back to, what is it, Portland together,
they were in Portland. Yeah, she was
and
a
then they kind of had a flirt match, and then they kind of had a shouting match, and then they kind of had a fighting match, and over all these years, I mean, maybe you grow up, you see yourself on TV, maybe little things change, and I think Naya's last time, she was almost all but assured to win with maybe Leroy, but then got kicked out for right before the final.
mm,
For I forgot who she got in a fight with, and then that's when they brought Teresa back
got it. Hmm.
way back in the day, and we hadn't seen Naya since. So after so many years, people do change, and maybe this is for the better that she took some time off.
A bit ago, you were talking about you don't like to see people going in over and over. And even last week, you talked about what is it about Kellyanne where she's always in that weird other side of things and not in the big group and not being embraced by everyone. We still don't have the answer to that. But to that point, and I had been sometimes a little harder on Kendall, just because I sometimes used to struggle with her authenticity in terms of like, are we playing, soft so we could get the sympathy? Is that gameplay? Is she, just are the decisions the right decisions? I don't know. Doesn't matter what I think. I will say that I was really happy to see them have each other's back, supporting each other. It seemed like Kellyanne had to sort of push a little bit and say, we need to start looking around. We need to look at the house and we need to grab, Janae, bring her in, bring Naya in. We have an opportunity if we're not going to play and they're going to play, that teeter totter is going to just keep going one way and it's going to really ruin our game. Did you like them having each other's back, Rich? I thought that was kind of sweet.
I mean, we've seen it, so I kind of saw it coming, and I mean, the thing I liked about it was like Kellyanne kind of said, like, "Yeah, that was a dumb move. Like, look, Kendall, wake up. You're putting my game in harm.
Yeah,
There's
in a
only
loving
two people
way.
coming. Yeah, there's only two people coming after, and she went after someone else to kind of her, and it almost like Kendall finally, after all this time, sees it for this being a game and not just like let's show up and compete.
I feel like I have a sympathy now. Like this thing, what I love about when we do recaps, because my opinion sort of does change sometimes. I've had trouble, let's say just in the work that I've done, which is the radio industry, podcast industry, or whatever. And I'm sometimes not willing to cut corners. I'm not willing to under what would you call it? Like undercut somebody. I'm not really that person. Yet people do it all the time and they succeed and they win. I kind of feel like I sympathize with Kendall in a way because I just want to keep things funky. I want to keep it authentic. And I really just want to, make the best person win. But there's always somebody in a competitive spirit for this thing. It's the challenge. For me, it had been my career and radio and all these jobs and stuff. There's always going to be somebody who's going to do it a more slimy way. And you have got to wrestle with that. You have to wrestle with how much your game is going to suffer if it's the challenge, or how much, in terms of my career, it will suffer because, I'm not willing to do things that others are willing to do, because I'm just not. So I think I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal here, but I think I sympathize with some of the Kendall less than smart moments because I think I've done the less than smart moments myself because I didn't want to cross over to that other side. Because when it comes to competitive nature, people will do just
Crossover, baby, crossover. If
well,
they're
didn't
not
I tell
expecting it, it's their fault. Stick a fork in them.
Didn't I tell you we are two brothers and we get along, but we don't have similar thought processes. The biggest thing growing up for me was Janet Jackson, Richard likes sports. We're brothers, but we're different. And there he goes saying, cut him.
Jeez, boo hoo, get the tissues out. Come on.
No, no, that's not the way Ronnie gets down. That is not the way I do it, and I'm in it for the long haul, and I'm better than everybody. No, I'm just saying there was a little light sympathy that I had. Anyways, doesn't matter about that. Darrell, Mark, and MJ, they're kind of talking. We see a little foreshadowing of Darrell and the being exposed to heights again. He doesn't want to be, he'll do underwater. He'll do a challenge that's underwater. He'll do a challenge that's maybe on a mountain, this, that, and the other, but nothing in the vein of it just being the height is the problem. So we're kind of getting set up for like, what's going to happen? As we get into the challenge, we get our big moment. Replacement is Beth from Real World Venice. Who would have thought? And I said a second ago, last episode rather, that we don't try to go to too many of the spoilers and the Reddits and all that. There are recappers who do that, and no knock to them. I try to just watch the show for the show because you know what? I had heard rumors of who the girl was, the woman was, the replacement. And it was the word I had gotten was it was going to be Rachel, to which I had said that makes tons of sense. They rolled out the Rachel Fitness YouTube series this year. It's congruent to all that. She hasn't been around in a long time. Like, I was certain it was Rachel. I have no problem with Beth, but I was just shocked. What were your feelings?
Well, I didn't know anything coming in. I didn't have any. I mean, we asked each other who we would like to see come in, but Beth is fine. I mean, Beth is Beth. I mean, that's the best way you could kind of put it. She's never on a side. She's kind of by herself all the time. People don't seem to love her, but she is good for the show. So if you're going to add someone, why not put in Beth?
I give her respect because you know what? She's like does she look at herself and say I'm the most physically fit person? Does she look at herself and say I'm the youngest, so therefore, we all know getting older, getting over 35 years old, the bones unless you're Cyrus, you start to be a little, it's just not that easy. And she puts herself out there, so there's a part of me that just has sympathy for that. But I also thought what was great about her coming into the game is it opens up a little bit of a wild card. Everything was set in stone before with Kayla and the treehouse and whoever else was going to be victim of the treehouse. And this kind of opens up like what could happen. And I also like that the song was Liz Fair extraordinaire. So I think the challenge gods, the people who are in the music department really got it right. And it's Beth. It's Beth. What are you going to do? How are you going to knock Beth? Even if she's not the greatest for the challenge, she always kicks up dust. She always stirs the pot. And you do got to say, if Beth and all the people from Real World Homecoming, Los Angeles, if they didn't, keep a season going, we wouldn't have several seasons of the Real World and several seasons of Road Rules and the challenge. So kudos to Beth. This is a Beth loving episode. We're not going to hate on her just yet.
She's
Richard,
Beth.
just Beth. Yeah, that's her Instagram should be called just Beth. Let's move on and let's talk about the challenge. So the challenge is called High Stakes, 150 feet high. I mean, shout out to Darrell because this is exactly what he does not want. Now, there's teams of 3. My question to you is, who are you choosing and why? Kayla mentions that she doesn't want to choose within her team, much like when they say they do the rooming, they don't want to be all together because they want to sort of have open ears to some of the other competitors. Is there a huge strategy to picking the 3? What do you think?
I wouldn't fight over it for strategy. Like, I wouldn't make a big deal. I think Kayla did have the right strategy. Try to have multiple people on your side, but have a scapegoat, especially in your 3, that you would be able to team up and throw someone out if they didn't win.
But you're
And that's,
saying don't telegraph it.
yeah,
Don't do it.
don't tell,
Okay, love
don't
it.
throw out your game too much for that because it's only three people they're teamed up with. But if you can do it, and I forgot who she was with. She was with Kellyanne.
And Sylvia,
Oh, and
who's yeah.
Sylvia. So like obviously they made their chances what 66%
Mhm.
to win, and if either one of them won, they were going to throw Kellyanne.
Yeah.
So
I
I thought
like
that was
that.
smart, but yeah, don't go out of your way to do it. Like, it's not the most important thing, but it does help if you can.
And it looked like even when Kayla was up there with Sylvia and Sylvia was having problems, Kayla was very, you know, compassionate, but not really going overboard to like support her because, you know, you're still, even though people know you're down with each other, you still want to kind of, you know, keep your distance, I guess. Anyways, real quick, so what it is high stakes, 3 planks with a math equation. So you're going to walk on the plank, you're going to solve the math equation. The fastest of the 3 to solve the math equation will decide who drops first in whatever order that they choose. So basically, if you come in second place, means nothing. Because if you come in second place, you could be the person chosen to drop first. So this game is about being first place or nothing, is what it turns into. Richard, I know we do this at the end, but I must tell you that I love Darrell for saying, fuck this shit. I hate all heights. Come on. It's getting worse and worse. I keep telling y'all, I don't like this shit, TJ. So store that away for later because, and we'll talk about Darrell later just because obviously this was a Darrell heavy episode. But anyways, that really got me. So within the sabotage, Kendall gives it to, I'm sorry. Kayla gives it to Kendall and Brad gives it to MJ. I like the way Brad goes, hey, no hard feelings, but it's you, MJ. It's like, come on, no hard feelings. You've been telling the confessional you hate the guy.
But what are you supposed to say? AFU? Like, they're
No,
not that,
you say
they're not on that bad of
no,
a
no. You say this.
religion.
You say he's the defending champ. He's proven to be very strong. I'm giving it to you, MJ. I know you can handle it. Boom. That's easy. I wrote it for you. Boom.
So you want to pump up his ego? Not the worst thing.
It was off the top of my head. I just came up with that, so I hope I am okay and made the
Ego
right
booster.
choice. Yeah. So, anyways, you have like I said, Kendall's gonna get the time disqualification, and same with MJ. It's so funny how Janae gets so upset over MJ. Like, I don't know if it's just, you know, they amass so much footage and they ask them so many questions. This could just be them constantly asking the question and keeping this in the edit, but they make it like Janae and MJ have been on since the Philadelphia season together. Like, they're so close.
Or
It's
doing
funny.
something else that we will not.
Well, I mean, you know, Beth came in with some opinions. I don't know if it was Beth, but it anyways, we'll move forward because I don't think you should ever, you know, in the Challenge 38 or, you know, the regular season, the MTV version, making rumors like that is one thing. But when you start making rumors like that on Real World Homecoming or the Challenge All-Stars, like, you're really getting in people's lives, you know, because a lot of these people are married with kids. So whatever we're going to see, and Richard's referring to what we saw in the trailer, let's just hope. Look, I don't know. As viewers,
we'll stop right there. But I think you guys could kind of just make your own opinions.
Well, get your popcorn ready because I'll tell you one thing. If somebody makes that accusation, Janae is going to be pissed. So we're about to get, and MJ will be pissed too. And, you know, you don't make accusations like that. Anyways, but right now it's just the fun part. It's the cute part that Janae is just always so about MJ. And I'm like, you barely met him. Anyways, let's go through the heats, Rich. So we have heat 1 is Mark, Derek, and Yes. Mark ends up winning. Yes is first eliminated. I'll go through everything and then you could kind of like give some opinions on some of these heats. So again, it's Mark, Derek, Yes. Mark wins, first eliminated. They give it to Yes. Makes sense because there's been a little bit of rumbling of like, you know, let's put Yes in a arena, I guess you would call it. Heat 2 is Kellyanne, Sylvia, and Kayla. Kayla wins, which, wow, she's been winning. And then of course, because they're not down with each other, it's Kellyanne will be the first eliminated. What I do love, Richard, though, is when that that sequence of competitors was on. Do you know what song played? Vanessa Williams, The Right Stuff. I mean, boy. This is why you oh boyed it. What happened?
Oh boy. No. All right.
That's not extraordinary to you? See, we grew up together 3 years apart, best of buds, but we're like 2 different people. And Richard, also shame on you. And this is a credible note. As far as the background dancers, our cousin did dance on the little not tour, but the like promotional tour with Vanessa Williams during that era. So our cousin Zeke was dancing with her professionally. So Vanessa Williams in the 80s was a big deal. Maybe to me, I'm 3 years older than you. You probably don't remember all the stuff. You were
Yeah,
probably
you were more listening to that. I was more listening to the indie rock
Yeah, well, not
alternative.
well. I don't even think you were listening to that music at that time because this is like mid '80s, late '80s. I was watching Arsenio Hall sing Vanessa Williams. Like I said, our cousin was dancing, but I was more doing. That was what was interesting to me. Arsenio Hall, Johnny Carson, Richard
Doing the
was
whoop,
interested.
whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, I remember that. Richard was more interested in of that era. You had the '88 Dodgers, and then
Dodgers, woo!
did the Lakers win '87 and '88? So
Back to
we're
back.
we're siblings and we're kind of we share a room, but we're just so different. You see that. So for me, my eyes lit up. Vanessa Williams, The Right Stuff. You don't know how big of a song that is, that plays in my mind, that plays in my adulthood, or not adulthood, youth rather. So it's cool. Anyways, moving forward. Heat 3, we've got Jordan, MJ, and Darrell. MJ is the sabotage, which is funny because even though he was knocked with the sabotage time, he is the one who does win. Darrell lost regardless of the win, and he's DQ'd. So it's not like MJ really had a chance to choose Jordan. We also don't know who he would have chose. Thoughts on Darrell's DQ? It's a pretty big deal if someone like Darrell DQs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Darrell's been known to be one of the top competitors of all time, and to see him just DQ, and I mean, I guess I get it. The older you get, I feel like you do get a little bit more afraid of heights or just what could happen, or maybe a roller coaster. But I don't know. I felt like he could have done this one
Mhm.
since it's kind of just walking out, but he said it in the confessional, like he's ready to go in. If that was the reason he was going into the arena, I
Arena,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, he's
It
going to be
was
ready for anything. So
it wasn't like he was doing a strategic move. Well, I'll just do this because, of course, we're trying to earn our stars. Because, like you said, I think the stars might be something, but they might not be. He was making the best of a bad situation. I'm scared as shit to do this. Let me at least try to go in. Let me try to earn some
and I'm
stars.
not trying to like diminish his feelings. I'm just, I guess, more or less saying I felt like he's done stuff like this before,
Mm.
where it was a little bit more surprising since he's been um, in the past. He's always been afraid, but I don't know. I felt like he's done a competition like this a time or two before. So
You know what? And this is all with love because I like Darrell, but I feel like he might be the equivalent of when a skinny person turns fat, right? So you got a skinny person all through high school, been adored their whole life. Then they get fat. They don't know how to live life. They don't know how to like live the same because they've always been, when you're pretty privileged, when you're pretty and you're beautiful, things come to you. And then turns out 35 of the metabolism ain't working. You're like, oh God, I got to be a good person to get things to, happen for me. And so on the physical fitness side, he's always been, follow me here because this is a long journey, but on the physical fitness side, he's always been so capable of everything, and now he's getting too old and deteriorating in a way, and I feel like he doesn't know how to mentally handle it. And I say that with love. Did you get my little analogy there? Did that make sense to you?
a little bit. I mean, maybe a little too far, but I get
It's
the
not the same
idea.
thing. What is somebody who was all like literally, even when Darrell messes up, and we're kind of getting at error number 2, number 3, number 4. Like we're starting to add them up now, but we never get on Darrell like we get on other players. As viewers, can I do the shit he does? No. I'm sitting on the couch with the popcorn and the jelly beans. Like I can't do it. But as us loving him as a competitor, he's one of those people because he always got along with everybody, was so freaking dominant, strong as shit. What happens when that starts going away? And I think what he's suffering from maybe is, I always say this to everybody about everything. Momentum is a motherfucker. And so you keep losing. So he's been losing.
Well, this
Eh,
is also a good cast from top to bottom
yeah. Well, let's move forward because
overall.
we got a lot more show. Oh, go ahead. Did you have one more thought there?
No, just it's a good solid cast. Sometimes you got. I don't want to make it sound bad, but you got a good 3 or 4 people at the bottom that you could just throw in and beat easily. where this from top to bottom, the guy side is pretty strong all the way from top to
Agreed. I
bottom. Yeah.
significantly thought that. I'm not saying I didn't think that All Stars 1 and 2, but I significantly felt that All Stars 3. Like it's starting to become, again, like I said, Brad or MJ, shit, both Titans, both both could go home, both could win. Like I'm feeling that. So
Both could probably still go on the flagship show if they
yeah,
really
you're
wanted
you're
to.
very right at that last point. I want to talk about Jordan's drop. I thought it was cinematic. You know, he is an actor. You know, he's had some roles and stuff like that. I think he did a show with Tyler Perry for years, actually, a couple years. And the fact that he trains hard. There's something about Jordan that I really like. But the bigger idea is that I thought it was actually cool that he made his drop very cinematic. And again, that's the actor in him. Heat number 4, we have Beth, Ronnie, and Janae. Janae wins. Beth is DQ'd, so she just gets there and then DQ. So that's pretty harsh emotionally. TJ was dangerously close to the edge, I noticed, and I was like, maybe we're not seeing the full aerial shot, because I was like, why does TJ not have any protective gear? Which I'm sure he did, or maybe it just looked like he was on the edge. But I was like, when Beth was being ridiculed, I'm surprised Beth didn't give him a little push. It shocked me a smidge. Do you like him writing Beth like that? Do you like that he makes the player try to go, kind of teases them a little?
Yeah, it's TJ. It's his show.
All right. Heat number 5. We're gonna move along because timing is we want to move forward here. Heat number 5 is Nehemiah, Brad, Wes. Brad wins. Wes, then Nehemiah. Brad just kind of calculates it as I just said, the person who was closest to me. And there was a really fun moment about how, you know what, we are all friends here. And this is a different dynamic. This is not the dynamic that we see on the MTV version. They are in it for blood. Everyone wants to win. But these are also people that they have had in each other's weddings. And it was just a really good Brad confessional moment.
And kind of to Kayla's point, like you don't want to have to put one of your best friends into the arena.
Yeah.
So where these 3 guys are really good friends, Brad wins, but he has to choose one of his 2 best and closest people. Or if they had one other person, kind of they could have teamed up.
Yeah. So luckily a DQ outdid that potential disaster if you're Brad or if you're Wes or if you're Nehemiah.
Yeah, because essentially Wes would go in, and who was it for the girls? Kendall?
Mm-hmm.
Or Kellyanne, but then because of the 2 DQs, Darrell and Beth are going in.
That's what makes it a good game. I was going to mention that because I always tear him down on another level when he's too much. But I thought Wes had good sportsmanship. I kind of spoke to that a second ago, and so I just want to give that.
You saying something nice to a cast member of?
That's what you're gonna get.
Austin?
Anyone who follows this show, I give my judgments based on what we are seeing. I don't have a preconceived, I don't like this player and I'm gonna, poop on him. Did I say poop? Shit on him.
Easy. Now that you're going to have Johnny Depp comments, and
I'm not gonna shit on him all season. I go based on what I'm seeing, and I like to see Wes with good sportsmanship. I like it much better than his like I'm trying to be on the World Wrestling Federation. Like that's not for me. Anyways, moving along. Heat 6. Naya, Veronica, Kendall. Kendall is the sabotage. So Veronica does win. Kendall's the first eliminated from Veronica. Veronica's happy. She finally won, which is great. Song that came in was 867-5309 by Tommy Two Tone. So again, there was some songs. Like this episode had a couple that I enjoyed. Richard, your winners are Brad, MJ, Mark, Veronica, Janae, and Kayla in general. But the top 2 are going to be Brad and Kayla. I almost feel like he didn't need to mention all of them because you get your hopes up. But nonetheless, Brad and Kayla, people start to recognize Kayla has won multiple times. So she's now,
is it Brad that's saying hat trick?
Yeah, she's
which means what? She's won the last 3 in a row.
She's already good with her words, and she's winning. So people will have to take note. With your losers, and I hate to call them losers, but the people who lost were Beth and Darrell based on DQ. If it wasn't, it would have been Wes and Kellyanne. So this is just the unique dynamic of the game, how it could have been Wes and Kellyanne had there not been DQs. That's all of it's interesting to me.
Who dated back in one of the seasons way back in the day, which I had forgotten about for a little bit.
The many, many layers of the challenge. Um, Beth can't find a roommate. My heart is broken for her. I mean, show some respect to Beth, damn it.
Beth should
um,
have her own room.
Beth should have said, "I'll do contractually. I'll come and do your show. I'll come in. I'll make my little stir-up drama, make mess, be the butt, the brunt. What is it? Brunt of every joke. The butt. Be the butt of the joke, but give me, the queen suite." I did find it. God, I guess I'm becoming a softie on today's episode. I found it warm that Beth and Kendall bonded. They speak on being OGs, and I do think we need that. As far as if you are the girls that are being dominated by Sylvia, Kayla, Veronica's an OG, but she's with them. You do need somebody to kind of step in and kind of try to represent for the OGs. So I thought that was a potential cool thing about Beth being there. Maybe some numbers for Kendall and Kellyanne, maybe. Um, Darrell's choice. They talk to him after they're parting, and they're kind of saying, "Who do you want to go up against?" Darrell tells the camera, he tells the confessional, "Well, maybe it should be Jordan," but he doesn't want to put that out there. But he's very good with it. He's good with it being Jordan. His reason is because he doesn't think Jordan should be in the final, because how do you beat Jordan in a final? Now that's good thinking, Richard, but don't you think that's also like, well, shit, do I really want him in an arena? I mean, if I can't beat him in a final, I might not be able to beat him in an arena. Thoughts?
Well, like we were saying, they're all good competitors, but these finals are made for people who are runners or can do multiple things. Where sometimes certain eliminations could be set up for weight. So if you're the bigger guy, you would be set up in a better spot to beat them there than maybe a long distance thing.
Mm.
So I get what he's saying because he does have a little size on him. You would think if it was a more size or weight base, he'd have a little bit of a chance,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to if he went up against Mark on and it was a size thing. So and Jordan has won what three three championships I guess so far. So like his, over the years, he hasn't lost too many. Once he's there, he pretty much wins.
Yeah. Well, what I like that Darrell said too was, it's hard for me to make a decision, and if I don't know what the arena challenge is,
Yeah,
that's that
exactly.
that changes everything. And to your point about running the final, I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, if I'm on the female side of things, as much as Kellyanne and Kendall are going through now, Kellyanne and Kendall are running that final.
Yeah,
Sylvia may have a hard time with the final. If I'm a girl, if I'm in the women's side and I'm trying to beat one of the, or I don't know if we don't know yet if it's a women's award, like a win, and a male award, or is it just, because
but
season
yeah,
one,
it's a lot of running. It's a lot of like rock climbing and stuff like that, which certain people are better at than others.
well, in any case, I'm glad Darrell has a good attitude about it, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean Darrell's always had a good attitude about everything, so it's not surprising that this is how he came across.
Real quickly, Beth and Veronica have a dramatic confessional, awkward dealings, they say.
I
Um,
think awkward is I don't know how dramatic, but awkward was a good word.
I give Beth credit. She looked at Veronica square in the face. Now I give Veronica credit for saying, like, she said the most backhanded thing, like, "Well, we had problems based on things that happened with you, but not me," or something like that. Like Veronica owned nothing, which I don't know if she should or is. We could go back to your opinion, because I know you had kind of had some opinions on Veronica and the way they were in general. But I thought Beth held her own, and that's the part of Beth I really enjoy.
Well, Beth has taken many shots over the years from many different people, and she does. That's something you gotta give her. She stands there, she takes it, and sometimes she'll break down here or there. But for the amount of people that seems like has been against her, she always gets kind of stands there, takes it, and does her own thing.
Yeah,
But
and it's in it. Go ahead.
no, but like yeah, with the Veronica back in the day, she had more of her crew with her, and that's a little bit different. But no, I mean Veronica, she's she's always been quick trigger and has the correct words to say to Beth to
And
kind of undercut her.
I didn't mean to put words in your mouth, but you watch those old seasons, and that there was nothing better than that flashback we got. That was prime early challenge, or not early, but the first 10 seasons of it or whatever. Veronica had been on every season. Beth had been so known and so picked on. I mean, it was a good moment. So anyway, Richard, Authority is did you have any other comments about everyone getting ready for Authority, or we could move on to Authority?
No, I mean, I think I've never talked about Beth so much in my life, but she was kind of one of the main people in this episode.
Yeah, she was. Okay, Authority, which is your favorite part. You love the Authority. So I'm going to kind of let you have more opinions here. Not let you, but give me your opinions here. Mark makes points about Jordan. Wes's name comes up a lot. Kendall and Kellyanne's names come up a lot. And then in the end, it's Kendall and Jordan. Just what are your thoughts on this Authority? Was it played well? What did you see? What did you spot?
Yeah, I don't know if it's my favorite part, but I do like when people mess up or when they make a good move to throw it out there. This one seemed to go the smoothest out of the last couple.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of had an idea. Obviously, the girls have been going after Kendall for a couple weeks, and then with her choice last week to put MJ as a sabotage, like it made it even easier for her. So that was almost a no-brainer. And I mean, between Wes and Jordan, who they were looking at, and we talked about with Darrell, like, are you going to beat Jordan? Like, for me, the best way to get Jordan not to win is to put him down in the arena. And now he's done some special things in the arena and has won a lot of them, but he's more guaranteed to win a final over elimination, just depending on what the elimination is.
Do you ever wonder that, like, we get, not we, I don't know who's we is in this situation. We get all these opportunities to get Wes out, but we always find another reason to get somebody else out, or to challenge somebody else, or to put something in the forefront that Wes keeps skating by? Do we worry about that if we're not enjoying Wes,
Well,
I guess?
I think you're worrying about it because you brought it up each week per se, but why would you get rid of Wes? He hasn't done anything this season. Like, he's been terrible. Like, you almost want him in there because if you get thrown in there, you might want to face him
because
he's been so bad.
My sanity can't take his.
But has he not? He might be one of the worst ones in these first 4 episodes. He hasn't done anything well. So
that's the worst thing about this show, because if you do a fun, like, lights, camera, action, you're sitting with the producer, he's done this 100 times, and even lights, camera, action on set, let's say, during the challenge or at the house when they have their parties, he knows how to, as he always says, I know how to self-produce. Bitch, we all know how to self-produce. Like, that's the easiest fucking thing ever if you've been around cameras for some time. But it's generally easy. But again, I just am not enjoying him. So, and I'm not against him either. But
if you're a competitor, you're not going to throw him in because he hasn't. I mean, he does look like he's in the best shape of his life.
Then why is his beard crooked? Why can't he?
Ronnie, you can't go off of.
How are you going to be no? Because he gloats. He gloats about all the money and stuff. Which I like people with money, but also if you having money doesn't create anything that makes me like.
But that's always been his character. That's what gets him on the camera. So I mean,
that's why I wish. Cut him out, editors. Cut him out.
But I think the editors think it's good because that's why they keep bringing him back. Now, I don't think it's like, okay, this again. So that I don't take it like that. But that's why they do cast him. And but for him being in such good shape, yeah, it's been pretty crazy to see how bad he's been in every one of these.
I would never option to bring somebody from the MTV version over because I want to stick to Real Worlders and Road Rulers. I like that for now for Allstars. Maybe down the road, maybe on Allstars 12, we can bring in some Are You the One people. But we need like a Devin to be in there to call out the stupidity. I know Yes sort of tried, but like it's not even in Yes's character.
But
Yes,
that's
Yes is more
Devin
like,
is Wes's best friend.
but he could
You
still
don't
call out.
remember that?
Well, yeah, I do, but I mean, I'm
Um,
saying a character like him, like to be like I need a confessional when we see the dumb confessionals from Wes and he's not winning, kind of like Janae. I do remember Janae said a couple, and this is a tangent. We got to stop, but I remember Janae saying, "Well, Wes, if you wanted this to happen, all you need to do is win." Woo! Good stuff, right?
All right. Go Wes, huh?
Okay, the last thing I'll say is it's just Real World Austin was one of the boringest seasons of the heyday. How you be
Which
in the middle?
says you.
I'm correct. This is my show. Excuse me. Okay, look at it. Now I'm over here just trying to get to the end of the show. Okay, anyways, Wes is fine. I just wish his beard was a little bit more kept up, and if you are the millionaire and all these things that you talk about, like we could at least get that taken care of. But it is what it is. So anyways, we're looking at it. Kendall, Jordan, those are our people. Wes escapes again. Anyways, no more of Wes talk.
He
The
escapes because he's so bad right now.
Yeah.
It's like the guy in Survivor or Big Brother that they're so bad they want to take him to the end because there's no chance. It's like Jay back in the day. Who did he bring in? Jenna? Little Jay, and he kept thinking he was doing well in the game, but they're like, no, you're
Oh
that
God!
bad.
And he gave up in the middle or something like that.
At the
Yeah.
start, but that's why you keep him there.
Jay thought he was going to be like casted for the next Jersey Shore. Like he came off the San
Like,
Francisco
I'm
season.
afraid Wes is going, like, Kenny's going to come out of the final and, like, pick him up and carry him like he did if he makes it to the end of this right now.
So the challenge that we have, which is called Steamroller. Both contestants are in a barrel, pushing opposite directions, trying to move the barrel towards the end of the platform. I thought the platform was a little like not. It was really tight. It wasn't that long in distance. So it's basically like a tug of war, but it's really compromising on your ability to stand because you're kind of squatting over, leaning over. There's different ways to do this as far as strategy. Ultimately, Kendall does lose to Beth, and ultimately Darrell gets hurt and loses to Jordan. Jordan's and Darrell's was more interesting for sure. We'll talk about that in a second. But did you have any comments on Kendall and Beth? Beth ultimately won by, if you're a bigger person physically, you probably will win this one, maybe.
Yeah, for the most part. It's definitely geared towards the heavier person. And you could see Kendall kind of getting off to a good start on it, but it didn't take much for Beth to figure out, like, let me just lean one way and then I'll get her tired and kind of take her over. Which in the second one with Darrell and Jordan, the reason why it was so good was Jordan never tires out at anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I mean, if Darrell got hurt, but I would foresee being in that type of position, it's more like a cramp type
That's what I thought it
thing.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, being in there, and he's like, oh, when those things, you're dehydrated. It looked like they were going for about, I don't know, 35 to 45 minutes in that type of position. You would want to be probably the more agile guy, and we've
Mm-hmm.
already seen like Jordan doing yoga stuff and things of that which would help that. But he was super close
Losing.
to well, I guess if you're talking about Jordan, yeah, I was going to say Darrell was super close to winning. He only had to roll the little tube maybe 2 or 3 more feet, and he would have done it. But if you get a cramp in your hamstring or your quad or something like that, you're going to quit automatically.
Which is why I think as a viewer, everyone got very sympathetic over it. But again, now we're getting at a level where it just keeps on happening. Darrell hasn't been as dominant as he once was. I just honestly love though, because again, I'm not judging. I can't do half this shit. A tenth of it. Darrell is a tried and true, proven challenge all-star, let's say. But I do think it has to hurt though when the last couple things you do, you're not really succeeding the way you used to succeed. But I do think that
But
coming
it
in,
was pretty impressive by Jordan to do that with not as much weight, and he had to literally hold his stance, and like just imagine holding your stance and like flexing your muscles for about 35 minutes or so.
yeah, like a plank almost or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jordan's fun. Jordan's animated. Like I said, Jordan, I think I believe he was on that like Tyler Perry series for a little bit. And Jordan, he has a factory that he works with now and some product line like Jordan, something that came by way of the motorcycles that he was working on. Jordan is just a unique guy that gets shit done. He tries new things. He succeeds to the highest of highs. And then I
He'll
think,
piss you off one moment, but then he'll do
yeah,
something nice and sweet, like the go to Ukraine and stuff. It's very
yeah,
unselfish.
and I think he also like had money from the challenge wins, but then like lost it all, and then like had to go on another challenge to get more, and then the acting. Like he's just got such a, like you said, even the I guess philanthropic stuff too. He's fun to watch. He's fun to watch, and but the part of me that loves it too is knowing that he's like an actor. Like a lot of that is just great entertainment value. Like I mean, I'm like cast him for the next Batman. you
Well, he's one of
know?
those guys. You're like, oh yeah, he's a good friend of me, but he's
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah.
dick too, and he
Oh,
has his
sure,
moments on
sure.
both sides.
Yeah, yeah. But for us, the viewers of Paramount Plus, we get a great entertainment value from him. One more note I was going to say about Darrell, why it's I think I have a little more investment watching these shows than the regular challenge is because I like to hear that while he's crushed and while he's bummed about his performance, and Darrell shouldn't be because he's listed as one of the greats of this show. He feels like I almost wasn't going to come to this season, but my kids really cheered me on. So there's a part of me that has such a soft spot for the competitors that are like
And some
trying
might say he should have won season 2.
with Janelle, right?
Yeah, but we won't get into
Oh,
that little
well, I've heard
controversy
enough
that
Janelle
happened after.
interviews, and I possibly agree. This is not taken away from Janae. And MJ,
Maybe a little bit,
I'll just
slightly.
say, I will just say the concept of saying the challenge god stepped in is a possibility.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked in some television too, so I kind of could really speak to some stuff as well. I've worked in radio. Like, there's parts of me that's like, what is it? There'll be casualties of war when it comes to producing a show. Let's
Well,
just say
I
it like
also
that.
don't think it was all intentional, but sometimes deadlines have to be made and decisions have to be made on the fly
A show has to be made.
that benefit. Yeah.
All right, wrapping this was up. This was a delight, Rich. Probably one of the funnest episodes I had done with you so far. I hope you feel the same kind of good energy. I'm like so excited about it. I feel like when I watch Paramount Plus through the app Paramount Plus, and I totally think they should hire us and all that stuff. But nonetheless, I feel like Real World Homecoming is not going away. I feel like Challenge All Stars is not going away. It may just be my algorithm, but I see on Twitter lots of commentary about these two shows, and maybe it's because I'm a little older. I wasn't seeing that on Challenge 37 as much, the MTV version. So things are changing, and I look forward to a lot of the future with this series.
Yeah, I mean, the series is getting bigger and bigger throughout. We just had one regular challenge. Now we have this Challenge All Stars, which we love because it gives you the nostalgia. Watching Survivor last night, they were showing the CBS challenge that's coming up.
Which we probably will have to cover as well. We are the official challenge recappers. But here's the thing. Challenge recap, Richard, I've been noticing there's so many people who do this. And I got so much love for each and every facet of it. You know what I mean? It'll be a group of friends, or it'll be a group of athletes, or it'll be people that just, have a YouTube channel. People love this show. Ours is a little different because I said we are brothers. We don't get to bond on a lot of stuff as far as like shows that we watch. Maybe Vanderpump Rules, but nonetheless, like it's just a fun thing to do, and I'm loving all that is a part of it, and I'm loving the little contribution, the little comments of like, oh well, did you think like, turns out Jemmy and Veronica aren't really that close. The bridge was, wait, no, what was it? the bridge was Jemmy between Veronica and maybe Kayla. I can't remember what the comment was, but little comments that are now on the channel, like that's pretty great. That makes us a worthwhile experience. Richard, we're gonna do confessional player of the week, but I do gotta say, because nothing in life is for free. If you want to support randomlyRonnieJr.com, that is the website. Go to the channel. There are so many shows there, recapping a lot of things, but sometimes interview series, sometimes evergreen pop culture commentary. I worked in radio since 2002, so it goes down. But more than that, if you want to show support to the channel, that way we could get, more stuff, more microphones, add a third or a fourth person to the show, whatever. Patreon.com/randomlyRonnieJr is the way to support it. Patreon.com/randomlyRonnieJr is the way to support it. It's in the description and it should be easy. You could support it 1 month. You could do a 1 month thing, or you could be down with the family all the time, whatever you want to do. Richard, turning it to you, confessional person of the week. I think that we're getting close to the middle. We will soon enough start calculating who's kind of winning the most and where the scorecard is. You and I sort of talked about doing that, so we'll see. But let's just focus on who we thought were the confessional person of the week for this week. Who do you have? And then I'll tell you who I have.
Okay, confessional of the week. I think there's only one choice.
Oh no, there was a
well,
couple stingers.
Oh, there was a couple throughout, but the guy kind of ran the show from start to finish, and that's Darrell.
Oh, okay. Which one was it? Was it the?
I mean, the thing is, having to ask which one says enough as it is.
Okay, then I just wanted a reason to repeat
I mean, it might have been his hiptosis or his hippopotamus or his hippotatomy or, whatever he needs to go through. His heights thing.
Let's clap it up for Darrell. That's right. We got to clap it up for Darrell.
We've talked about in previous seasons where he's kind of a guy that stays behind the scenes, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, his confessionals were funny, and you don't see it. And he's been pretty quiet this year.
And why we got to give... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but just ending it out was... I mean, this was his show, and I felt like from him saying, like, give me anyone later on, like, more the gameplay type thing for the arena and stuff like that, to from the start, where just at the start he was at the pool and having fun, and I would give it to Darrell.
And he also nailed it when it was the 70s party. I thought that he was my highlight of that one of my highlights. But no, it was this one for me. And you, like you say, which one? And I think Kayla dropped some funny stuff. Derek dropped some funny stuff. Who else? Kendall had some good stuff too. Hers weren't as exactly funny, but I was vibing with Kendall this episode. But Darrell saying, "Fuck this shit," and I said this already, but I'm gonna do it again. Fuck this shit. I hate all heights. Come on. It's getting worse and worse. I keep telling y'all, I don't like this shit, TJ. So it's Darrell for me, man. I mean, Richard, do you want him to come back next season right away? Or because
I would take Darrell back any season he ever wants to come back.
Well, then my question is, Darrell and Kendall, they should... Because it kind of feels like Kendall's kind of explaining that she's sort of exhausted and tired, Maybe she needs a little break. But what do you do? Do you take that break, or do you come back right away? Do you seize the opportunity?
We got to remember, when these were filmed, all three were filmed in the same calendar year, which doesn't happen.
Okay.
Ever. But I think because of the pandemic and all that, you had certain rules and certain times you could go and couldn't go. But so in 2022, I don't even think they filmed one this year, but they did 3 all in one. So I could see by the third one, which Darrell and Kendall both did, all of them, that they would kind of be tired. I mean, that's a lot of time away from your family and everything. So
I think on one hand, you always seize the opportunity and you always say yes. But yeah, I think you made a really good point. Maybe we could explore on it later. It's such a different experience if you're like Fessy, and I don't know how young he is, but Nelson, Corey on the regular season. And of course, injury is injury, and things are scary when you're competing in the challenge. But it's a lot different when you're in your 40s, and you could run the risk of really hurting your body quite severely, and you have kids now, and I just, it's a different thing, and I give all of them, even though I make my comments, I just give them all such respect because they're giving us a really great TV show. And while I would love to see Darrell on season 4 and Kendall on season 4, maybe there's nothing wrong with taking a 1 year break and then coming back and then mixing it up too, because you don't want to see the same cast members on every show. We've seen Nehemiah way too much, so let's
Whoa,
give
whoa, whoa! We're
let's give
back
him
to
a
Team Austin
let's
again.
let's give him a break and get him off our TVs because he's not as compelling. No, Team Austin is just never my team. Melinda, all the stuff. Anyways, Richard, that is it. That's all I got. I will say that what I want to do is we will start, knocking down who we think are the challenge people of the episode, but we'll do a tally. So we talked about that. But I also want to do, if there is no announcement on forecasting, I want us to do who we would want to be in the season 4. So we'll do that towards the end of the season here as well. But yeah, we accomplished episode 4, recapping it. We hope you enjoyed it. And I guess that's all I got for now. Any last words or thoughts or opinions? The trailer did allude that Beth would be stirring the pot about Janae. Thoughts, Richard?
That's just Beth being Beth. It should be a bumper sticker or something. That's just Beth.
I know, but there's things you don't mess with. Beth is a married woman. You don't.
Beth messes with everything.
Well,
she would win the pot stir championship if there was one.
I think it was a fine episode, and I know it'll never be possible, but I always feel like, we had our replacement, which was Beth. Please challenge Allstars 5, 6, pay her all the money. We need Coral. Even if it let her host the show, co-host, we need Coral back now. Coral and the Miz for that matter. Anyways, it's been a delight, Richard. And it's not always. No. It has been a delight. Another random recap. We are out of here. Great competitors, great episode. We'll be back for episode number 5 for the Challenge All-Star Season 3, another random recap with my brother Richard. If you want to find him on Instagram, it's at SALEUR. If you want to find me online, it's RandomlyRonnieJr.com. And the Instagram and Twitter and all that is at RandomlyRJ. Going to take us out with someone I love more than anyone else. Me.
Boom.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.
That was fun. Bye.